Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Welcome to the next class of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 10th canto. So in the previous class, we covered chapter 11 in 10th canto, and it was related to the childhood pastimes of Lord Shri Kṛṣṇa, where he killed 2 of the demons, and now everyone has moved from Gokul to Vrindavan. So in this particular pastime, we will hear the killing of the demon Aghāsura. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So welcome to this session. We'll be doing little Kirtan, followed by reading a few purports of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and then we will be looking at different lessons that we learn from this chapter, discussing Lord Krishna's pastimes and how in this time of we can still be calm, confident and courageous. So that's what is going to be the goal. So let's get started. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari, Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari, Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki Janant Koti Vaishnavavrind ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nivisheshashunyavadi Pashyata Deshtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Naram Chaiva Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayam Mudiryet.
Tato Jayamudiyet.
Shabtam Swa Katha Krishna.
Shraddham Katha Kṛṣṇa.
Punya Shamana Kirtanaha.
Punya Shravana Kirtana.
Hridayantasto Bhadrani.
Vedantasto Bhadrani.
Vidunoti Suhasatam.
Vidunote Saraswatam.
Nashtaprayashu Bhadreshu.
Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu.
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Uttam Bhagavat Sevaya.
Bhagavate Uttam Shloke.
Bhagavate Uttam Shloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So in this class we'll be covering Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10th canto, chapter 12, the killing of the demon Aghāsura. And the previous chapter was on the childhood pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa. And who is narrating this pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa? Shukdev Goswami. And later it was also repeated by Sutta Goswami at Naimisharanya. Now Shukdev Goswami is describing these pastimes to Parikshit Maharaj, who is fasting for 7 days until his death arrives, right? And he is relishing the sweet pastimes of Lord Kṛṣṇa, and we already covered Damodar Leela earlier, so you can imagine how sweetly that was relished by Parikshit Maharaj. And he had previously also accepted that he is not feeling any hunger or any thirst, any of those bodily demands that we are constantly tormented with. He is not having any of those. He is in complete bliss, and he is very nicely inquiring. And now this particular chapter is also amazing, as we will see, as how it's setting up to even more, melodious, more sweet, more enchanting pastimes as we continue to move further. Navanavidinam. So all these pastimes, the more we keep repeating it, the more fresh, the more sweet, the more melodious, the more enchanting they become. Do you want to add anything? Okay. So let's cover the first few verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10th canto, chapter 12, verse 1. Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Kvachid Vanashaya Mano Dadad Vrajat Prata Samuthaya Vayasya Vatsapan Prabodhayang changarevena charuna vinirgato vatsa purasharo harihi. Shishaka Vacha.
Can I read?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Shri Shukuvacha
Shishaka Vacha.
Kvachid Manasaya Mano Dadat Prajat
Kvachid vanashaya mano dadad vrajat.
Prata Samuthaya Vayasya Vatsapan
Pratah samuthaya vayasya vatsapan.
Prabodhayan Shringaravena Charuna
Prabodhayam shangaravena charuna.
Vinirgato Vatsa Purasaro Hari
Vinirgato vatsa purasaro harihi. Shishaka Vacha.
Shri Shukuvacha.
Shri Shukdev Goswami said,
Shri Shukdev Goswami said,
Kvachit,
Kvachit,
one day,
one day,
Vana Ashaya,
Vana Ashaya,
just to enjoy a picnic in the forest.
just to enjoy a picnic in the forest.
Manaha,
Mana,
mind.
mind.
Dadhat,
Dadat
gave attention.
gave attention.
Vrajat,
Rajat
and went out of Vrajbhumi.
and went out of Rajbhumi.
Pratah,
Prata,
early in the morning.
early in the morning.
Samuthaya,
Samuthaya,
waking up.
waking up.
Vyatsa Vatsapan,
Vyasa Vatsapan.
the cowherd boys and the calves.
The cowherd boys and the calves.
Prabodhayan,
Prabodhayan,
to get everyone to rise.
to get everyone to rise.
Waking up and informing them.
Waking up and informing them.
Shangaravena,
Shringaravena,
by sounding the bugle made of horn.
by sounding the bugle made of horn.
Charuna,
Charuna,
very beautiful.
very beautiful.
Vinirgataha,
Vinirgata,
came out of Rajbhumi.
came out of Rajbhumi.
Vatsa Purasaraha,
Vatsa Purasara,
keeping the respective groups of calves in front.
keeping the respective groups of calves in
Calves.
front.
Harihi,
Hari,
the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shukdev Goswami continued,
Shukdev Goswami continued.
O King, one day Kṛṣṇa decided to take his breakfast as a picnic in the forest. Having risen early in the morning, he blew his bugle made of horn and woke all the cowherd boys and calves with its beautiful sound. Then Kṛṣṇa and the boys, keeping their respective groups of calves before them, proceeded from Brajbhumi to the forest. There is no purport, so we'll cover the next translation. At that time, hundreds and thousands of cowherd boys came out of their respective homes in Brajbhumi and joined Kṛṣṇa, keeping before them their hundreds and thousands of groups of calves. The boys were very beautiful and they were equipped with lunch bags, bugles, flutes and sticks for controlling the calves. Translation, text 3. Along with the cowherd boys and their own groups of calves, Kṛṣṇa came out when an unlimited number of calves assembled. Then all the boys began to sport in the forest in a greatly playful spirit. Purport. In this verse, the word Kṛṣṇa vasar asankhayata hai are significant. The word asankhayata means unlimited. Kṛṣṇa's calves were unlimited. We may speak of hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, billions, trillions, tens of trillions and so on. But when we go further to speak of numbers impossible for us to count, we are speaking of unlimited numbers. Such unlimited numbers are indicated here by the word asankhayata hai. Kṛṣṇa is unlimited. His potency is unlimited. His cows and calves are unlimited. And his space is unlimited. Therefore, he is described in Bhagavad Gita as Paramatma. The word Brahman means unlimited. and Kṛṣṇa is the supreme unlimited Parabrahman. Therefore, we should not consider the statements of this verse to be mythological. They are factual, not inconceivable. Kṛṣṇa can accommodate an unlimited number of calves and an unlimited measurement of space. This is neither mythological nor false, but if we study Kṛṣṇa's potency with our limited knowledge, that potency will never be possible to understand. Atah Shri Kṛṣṇa namadi na bhave grāhyam indriyaha. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-109. The senses cannot perceive how he could keep an unlimited number of calves and cows and have unlimited space in which to do so. But this is answered in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Evam prabho priyanam cha dhamnascha samyasya cha avichintya prabhavatvad atra kinchinna durghatam. Shri Sanatana Goswami in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam states that since everything about Kṛṣṇa is unlimited, nothing is impossible for him. It is in this sense that we have to understand this verse. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilatam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yatir kripatadham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So such a beautiful set of verses and such a nice purport, because these purports are Srila Prabhupada's transcendental ecstasies, and this purport has so much captured in it, as we will see, continue to read. So there are some amazing lessons from this chapter. Hare Krishna. So in the previous verse, our previous chapter, we heard how, means again Shukdev Goswami is narrating this to Parikshit Maharaj, how Lord Krishna, when he went to Vrindavan, and as he was taking the calves with the cowherd boys, he killed Vatsasura, a calf demon who had, taken the form of a calf. And so what does this Vatsasura represent? It's very important to understand this calf demon. This calf demon, Vatsasura, represents a childish mentality, mischievous and too easily influenced by bad association. So again, the blessing we get is when we hear the pastime of Lord Krishna killing Vatsasura, and also the complete chapter has so much related to how, the Vrajvasis moved from Gokul, where Lord Krishna performed his childhood young baby pastimes, then over to Vrindavan. And this is where Lord Krishna and Balrama are smiling. So when we hear about these pastimes, there are some blessings. The various anarthas, the various faults that we have, because of our impressions from many, many lives, because of our activities that we have performed and the association we have had in many lives. So all these faults get simply eradicated when we engage and listen to these pastimes with full faith. So killing of Vatsasura removes this childish mentality, like the mischievousness that can be developed, that has been developed in one due to one's bad association. It gives rise to a type of greediness for sense gratification, through which one becomes absorbed in materialism. So it becomes greedy to satisfy one's senses. So when we hear this pastime of Vatsasura, how Lord Krishna, assuming that, showing that he's just a calf and he's approaching as if he's approaching a calf, and from behind he holds the hind limbs and then throws Vatsasura on top of a tree, thus killing it. So when we hear this is killing up also internally in our heart whatever that childish mischievousness that we have, and the greediness for the material things that we have. So in this time of COVID-19, the coronavirus, which is causing havoc, right? The time where we have this pandemic, and people are doing panic shopping, right? Panic buying is going on there. So that panic buying is also very childish mentality. It is, we have to rise above, the general activity which is at the level of annamaya. That's the level where animals are, right? Their mindset is that they are only concerned with eating, sleeping, mating and defending. And Prabhupada criticizes very heavily that one should not have this kind of mindset. So we should give up that. So above annamaya, again, so you have pranamaya, annamaya, and then you have manomaya and so forth. Yet at the same time, devotees are anandamaya, anand bhaya abhyasat. Everyone is seeking happiness, but we are seeking happiness not by sense gratification, but by serving the lotus feet of Lord Kṛṣṇa, who is Rishikesh, who is also known as Rishikesh. And Rishikesh means master of the senses. So when we satisfy the, master of the senses, then all our senses are automatically satisfied. So also we heard that how Aghāsura in his previous life, as is given in Garga Samhita, was a demon by the name Pramila. And he wanted to take the cow Nandini of Vasishtha Muni. So at that time, he was cursed, yet at the same time, Vasishtha Muni, being compassionate when he asked for forgiveness, allowed him to, when he gave him the boon rather, right after the curse, that he will be delivered by none other than Lord Kṛṣṇa. So it's Vishnu Kṛṣṇa who kills the demons, right? And when they are killed, they are able to go back home, back to Godhead. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he had written a great article, very nice article, which has 6 points related to Vatsasus. Yeah. So these 6 points that he wrote is, the children are by nature playful, and they should not be stifled. So the very first point is where, when the children, they are playful, they should not be stifled. And then the second point is, well, again, we should not just allow them to have sense gratification, rather we need to engage them in devotional service. Sometimes as parents, we try to disengage, don't do this, don't do this. Instead of saying, don't do this, rather we should be saying, let's do this together. And we engage them in some of the more attractive activities. Now this reminds me, in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada, he had adopted a boy. And so this boy, sometimes Srila Prabhupada used to ask him to go and get things, buy things from the market, go to the stores, get these things and come back with the items. So Srila Prabhupada would give him money, he would go buy things, and he would come back, deliver the goods and the remaining change that he had. So once, as he was paying obeisances, from his pocket slipped out a chocolate. So then Srila Prabhupada saw that this boy, when he was going out to shopping, being a boy, he is attracted towards chocolate, things to eat for the kids. And so Srila Prabhupada did not chastise him. Rather, Srila Prabhupada said, you like sweets? Let me get you sweets. So again, he went and took the boy to the kitchen. And kitchen is Radharani's place, right? And Srila Prabhupada himself, he cooked halwa, right? Suji ka halwa. So he himself cooked halwa. And then he served that boy halwa in a plate. And so and he said, you like sweets? This is a sweet, and the boy gave up eating chocolate from that day on, because he had, received a higher taste. He had experienced the higher taste by taking the halwa that was offered to the Lordship by Srila Prabhupada himself, and as a Mahaprasad was given to him, and that purifies us when we eat prasad. Ataha Shri Kṛṣṇa namadi na bhave grahayam indriya sevon mukhe jivado swayam eva spuratyataha. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami writes about this. Like Ataha Shri Kṛṣṇa namadi, Lord Krishna's name, form, activities, pastime, na bhave grahayam indriya. So our senses are too dull that they cannot experience and relish Lord Krishna's name, form, activities and pastime. Sevon mukhehi jivado. Sevon mukhehi jivado. So when we engage our senses, and especially our tongue, so among the senses, our tongue is very strong. And that's where the annamaya piece comes, right? So our senses are so strong, yet at the same time when we engage our senses, especially in this particular verse, it's said that when we engage our tongue in serving the Lord. So eating prasad, mahaprasad, is also engaging the tongue because we are relishing, and prasad means mercy, mercy of the Lord. So we are getting mercy of the Lord. And also another way of serving with our tongue is by chanting the holy name. Hare Kṛṣṇa, Hare Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa Kṛṣṇa, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So just by serving with our tongue, Lord Kṛṣṇa, Swayameva Spuratyadaha, He becomes manifest to our senses, to our eyes, and we relish Him. And Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sings the prasadam prayers, right after that, he is relishing the Mahaprasad and saying that this is how Kṛṣṇa tastes. Like it's directly anything that's worn by Kṛṣṇa is Kṛṣṇa's, right? So right then and there it becomes part of him. So when he has touched, when he has accepted the bhoga, it has been purified and it has become spiritualized. It's on that absolute platform where Kṛṣṇa is. And when we taste that, we come to that level. Now, second point is the only effective way to protect children from becoming contaminated by sensuality is to engage them in Kṛṣṇa conscious activities. And this is what we covered here. Not just restrict them. So this is again in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Kṛṣṇa warns Arjuna that it's not by disengaging, that one becomes purified. Rather, it's the right engagement, engaging in devotional service, which helps one to really come to the right platform. And then the object, the third point is, the object of Puritanic idea is to stop children engaging in sinful activities so they can enjoy those same activities more when they are adults. Now sometimes parents, when they are not in full knowledge, they say, oh, you don't do this now, but when you grow up, then you can do it. Now that's the wrong message. The kids are just getting this message that, oh, right now you are restricting me, but when you will not be able to restrict me when I will be grown up, then I can do all this, sense gratificatory activities. And that's not a message we want to send to our children. We want to really send to our children the message that, this is a life, a human life that you have received, and it's a great boon. So the purpose is Atato Brahma Jigyasa. What is the purpose of my being here? Why am I here? Why am I suffering? What is the, way out? What is my true home? Where do I really belong to? Where do I come from? Where do I have to go? So understand that we are at this foreign place, right? We are fish out of water. And if the fish is out of water, in a hot sunny day, would the umbrella give relief to the fish? No. Would your food give, relief to the fish? No. Would jewels and ornaments give relief to the fish? No. The fish really wants to go back in water. And I also cover very nice, sometimes we get deluded. So when we get deluded, we become like this person who is at the vending machine and putting coin, and every time the person presses a specific button and a can of drink comes out, and then this person was like, wow, this is great, took it out, got more coins, collected more coins, and then continued to put it in the machine and getting more and more cans one after another. And then the people are gathering behind her, and then they're saying, what are you doing? And the person says, don't you see, I'm winning? So they are thinking that this is the material way, and they are spending their time in this material world doing things that they're going to be losing anyway. They will lose all this stuff that they gather at the time of their death. So when they leave the world, everything stays behind. That's why, in Shastra it is said that at the time of death, all the material things that you have collected are stolen away from you, or they are snatched away from you. So it's very important for us to understand that death is just lurking around, and to make our life successful, we also have to make sure that we are engaging in devotional service. So that is the main goal of life. This body is just like a perfect vehicle. And when you buy a vehicle, you buy it with a purpose of going from point A to point B. So you need to know where you're headed, right? You don't want to be, spending your life, all your life, looking and chasing a goal, and when you achieve the goal, then you realize that actually it was the wrong goal and the life is over. So wake up now. We need to wake up and understand from the Shastras, Shastrakshus, from the vision of these Shastras, from the writings of the great Acharyas, what's the purpose of life. So we should not use this idea that don't do it now, when you grow up then you can do it. Rather, we should engage them in the right purpose so that when they grow up, they are constantly more and more attracted by devotional service, and they are more and more, continuing to advance in their journey towards their goal. And what's the goal? The love of Godhead. And the process to reach there is the 9 process of devotional service as Prahlad Maharaj said. And why is this important? Because we need to understand what is our relationship. So first is Sambandha, Abhidaya, and then Prayojana. First is Sambandha, Jivera Surupaya Krishnera Nityadas. The eternal, constitutional position of a living entity is an eternal servant of Lord Kṛṣṇa. So we need to serve Lord. And when we serve the Lord, how do you serve it? What's the process? How do you serve it? That's by following the process of devotional service. And then, why are you serving it? To develop and attain the love of Godhead, which is the goal in this life. So more and more we engage our senses, it becomes revealed to us. And so we are able to move further. Now the 4th point from the article of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's article, the 4th point is, there is also a spurious idea that young boys should be trained as morally upright brahmacharis, so that in the future they will have the strength to carry out worldly duties very nicely. But morality is a valued commodity only on the plane of delusion. So it's a very important point, that if you become moral but not a devotee of the Lord, then what is it considered? In the scriptures it is said that's only an ornament for the dead body. What does it serve for a man to gain the world but lose his soul? So it's very important from that perspective that we need to understand that when we are using a vehicle go from point A to point B, that's the purpose it should be used, not for wandering all over the place. Because in this material world, Brahma bhavite kaun bhagyavan jiva Guru Kṛṣṇa prasade paye bhakti lata bija. So in this Brahman, in this material universe, the living entity is wandering just like a Ferris wheel. Srila Prabhupada gave this example. Like sometimes going up, going to the higher planetary systems, sometimes going down, going to the lower planetary systems, sometimes coming in the middle where hidden life is being awarded to them. And they're continuously going through this cycle of higher birth, lower birth, and so forth in this Ferris wheel. But some fortunate soul gets Guru Kṛṣṇa prasadipaya bhakti lata vidya. So by the mercy of the Kṛṣṇa, who is this Brahman, right, who is as a super soul in the heart, he as Chaitya Guru gives you the spiritual master. So spiritual master is an external manifestation of Kṛṣṇa, and you take shelter of them so that you get the bhakti lata bij. And when you engage in devotional service, the lata grows and grows and finally penetrates through this material covering and rests at the lotus feet of Lord Kṛṣṇa, and that's where the fruits and flowers manifest. So morality is a valued commodity only in delusion. So we have to rise above delusion. One of the very nice examples Srila Prabhupada used to give was that of sun, right? Sometimes in the morning, people say, has the sun come out? Well, actually, there are clouds there, so we are not able to see the sun. Sun is not covered. It is we who are covered. So, when you look at Kṛṣṇa and his pastimes, the pastimes are very nicely being, Ashtakaliya Leela are being performed. But what's really happening is that we are covered, so we are not able to relish them. We are missing out in this bliss. This is a great, opportunity that we have to really engage and serve the Lord. So here, this is what is being identified, that we have to, rise above delusion and really understand and engage in devotional service, because it is for our own benefit. It is for our own purification. Lord Kṛṣṇa is our paraṁ. He doesn't need anything. It is us who are suffering in this material world. we need to, understand what true happiness is. It is not sparks in the darkness, rather it is full sunlight. Kṛṣṇa Surya Sama Maya Hai Andhakara, Jahan Kṛṣṇa Taha Nahi Mayara Adhikara. Kṛṣṇa is like the sun, and this material energy of the Lord which is causing all this delusion is like darkness. We are in darkness because of Maya. But when we take shelter of Kṛṣṇa, wherever there is Kṛṣṇa, there is no andhakara, there is no darkness. So when there is sun, there cannot be darkness. So similarly, where there is Kṛṣṇa, and if we are constantly serving Lord Kṛṣṇa, there cannot be any influence of Maya, there cannot be any delusion. Now, fifth point is, parents must hand their sons over to properly qualified spiritual teachers. It is also a training for the parents. So, it's very important for parents to understand first what is the purpose of life, how to engage the children, but then how do you make sure that the children get the right direction? It's just that the parents are going to take care of them, that's not sufficient. The children also need to be educated enough so that they follow the process. If the parents have followed the process, that's great, they understand that how important it is. So they should make sure that the children, as they're growing up, the children also take to the process. And if the children, one of the things is never force the children. This is something many parents do. And there have been many such cases where the children turn away from Kṛṣṇa consciousness. Rather tell them that by engaging in devotional service is so blissful. They are having such a wonderful time when they are engaging in devotional service. Hear their thoughts, because children are very smart. If you are being hypocritical, they would know instantly. You cannot hide from your children. They know you. They have been growing up under your shelter, so they know what you are doing. So it's very important when you engage in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, you engage it sincerely so that when you are engaged and they are seeing that you are in complete bliss, and then they are able to engage as well as experience some of that bliss, they are going to grow into that and build that automatic attraction towards devotional service and serving Lord Kṛṣṇa. Now, and the sixth, last but not the least, is the mundane nature of the boy is no less a clog onto the wheel of spiritual progress than the adult nature of the grown-up worldling. The process of training is identical to the two cases, as the soul is neither young nor old. So it is very important for us to understand that the soul is eternal. And what's the difference between our children and us? They just happen to have come sometime later than us, right? And so we as parents need to make sure that they have the proper environment, they have the favorable conditions around it. Think of a small plant. When you're making sure a small plant is coming up, you're watering it just right. If you overwater it, that will affect it badly. If you don't water it properly, that will affect it badly. And then if you don't make sure that the soil around it is very fertile, and that you don't take away all those other unwanted plants around it, and if you don't take care of the surroundings, then also it will be affected. So to make sure that your child is growing up nicely, you need to make sure that this plant, which is, in the form, I'm just giving an analogy, is properly being taken care of. So these 6 points were discussed in this article by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then Lord Kṛṣṇa killed Aghāsura. Now Aghāsura represents cunning duplicity, deceptive behavior, and hypocrisy. So this, if you look at it from the previous, a lot of instruction by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, is to help us understand how as parents we should behave and help our children grow. And this particular one helps the parents to be able to come out of duplicity, to be able to come out of that deceptive behavior and hypocrisy. So when we hear the pastime of Lord Kṛṣṇa killing Aghāsura, bifurcating his fork, it's completely removing.
Bifurcating the beak.
The beaks, yeah. Thank you. The beaks. So that is to remove, he's taking away the deceptive behavior, right? The hypocritical attitude parents may have at times. So it's very important from that perspective. And now here, Lord Kṛṣṇa in this particular chapter, he wakes up early in the morning, and then he has this desire that he wants to go to the forest along with all the cowherd boys, and then he wants to have a picnic, right? So picnic is not a new idea. This is a transcendental picnic that they are going on. And this picnic, you could understand, once we are done, would last for almost a whole year. So, especially for the cowherd boys. So Lord Kṛṣṇa, he is, early morning he gets up, and just to signal it, he takes out his bugle and he blows his bugle. And it's melodious sound, wakes everyone up. They understand what Kṛṣṇa wants. And so all the cowherd boys, they come up with their calves. Now calves are walking in the front. And it's very interesting that in old times, when the cowherd boys, there's like Lord Kṛṣṇa and all these cowherd boys, as they're taking, they would keep the calves in the front. Similarly, the cowherd men, they would keep the cows in the front. Not just that it is auspicious and it's easy to manage the cows, but also the dust that comes from the cow hooves is very purifying. It actually boosts our immunity system. So when I had heard this, I was really amazed. And then I looked at a couple of other references in the scriptures, and it does that. So that's why when you see in the people who are taking care of cows, they have really strong bodies. They're very strong arms, and they are taking care of the cows and all that. And the dust from the hooves is actually bringing up the immunity system. So all these boys, they go. And then what do? They go to the forest, near Yamuna river. And there they tie their calves. So, but then before that something happens. As they're taking these calves, Aghāsura, who wants to avenge the death of his brother and sister, and he has also been incited by Kams to go. So Kans has already incited Aghāsura and told him that, oh, Kṛṣṇa killed your brother and sister. Putana was his sister and Bhāgavata was his brother. So Aghāsura wanted to, he was feeling, he wanted to satisfy his brother and sister who had departed, but he wanted to avenge their death in this case. Sometimes I'm looking for words. So he wanted to avenge the death of his brother and sister. So he makes a plan. He decides to go, and on their path as these cowherd boys and Kṛṣṇa, they are coming, on that path, he takes the form of a python, a gigantic python, and he opens his mouth. So it is said, when you look at that particular perspective, that when he opens his mouth, his lower lip is on the ground, his upper lip opens up to be in the clouds. So it's just huge, amazing. His body is 8 miles long. His teeth, they appear like those, and his tongue is like a red carpet, so he's laying it down. And as he is breathing, it's sending out like hot air. And his mouth seems like the darkness, it's completely dark, like a cave in the mountain. So that's how he's appearing. And all the cowherd boys, as they are coming, they are playing, among each other. And they used to play various different type of games. They would pick up these big fruits, and they used to play like football with these. In the previous chapter, we also heard how Lord Kṛṣṇa and Balaram were playing these cowherd boys. And at that time, when Rohini Mata, Mother Rohini came to call Kṛṣṇa and Balaram, they did not come. So Mother Rohini understood that they would listen to Mother Yashoda more. Because if you see, even though Balaram is older, who's the leader? Lord Kṛṣṇa is the leader. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Mother Yashoda comes, and then when she says, "Oh Kṛṣṇa, oh Balaram, please come," she also gives the reference that Nand Baba, Maharaj Nanda, he is waiting to have lunch with them. So he's waiting for them, and she tells that all these cowherd boys, they are so nicely dressed, and taken bath and everything. But you have been playing for a long time, so you should come. So this way she, gets Kṛṣṇa and Balaram to come back. And of course, because of her motherly love, she's also saying, "Oh Kṛṣṇa, please come and have my milk." And as Krishna hears this, and of course every time they wanted to go, the cowherd boys would pull them in another direction. Or next time Krishna Balaram, you come, you're not going to be able to play with us because, we are in the middle of a game and you are abandoning us right in the middle. So it was a very interesting tussle for Lord Krishna and Balaram to make a decision. Should we go to mother or should we stay with the boys? What if the boys don't let us play next time? However, it would always happen that even if they leave in the middle, the boys were always eager to play with Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram. So, nevertheless, this doubt used to come in Lord Krishna and Balaram's mind. And so, as they were thinking, as the boys, they were going for this picnic, they were playing different kind of games. Like football, they were playing with big fruits. They would sometimes play tag. They would just run and say, oh, let's see who will touch Krishna first, like the tag game. And then whoever would touch, yes, I have touched Krishna, I have won and all that. So they would really relish. And they would constantly be looking at, how do you satisfy Lord Krishna? And sometimes they would make Lord Krishna say, oh, I got this nice preparation from home, show. And then say, but close your eyes, right? And so Lord Krishna would close his eyes. And then instead of giving that sweet, they would give a flower in Lord Krishna's mouth, and that sweet would be taken by another cowherd boy. And very strangely, as the flower would come in Lord Krishna's mouth and he would take it, he would relish the sweet, while the child who has actually taken the sweet would get the taste of the flower, and they would be amazed, how did this happen? Such amazing pastime. So he would even bewilder the cowherd boys. And here the cowherd boys, they see this gigantic snake, and they kind of had this doubt. Is this a snake which is going to kill us, which is here and it's going to kill us? But then they were like, no, that's not possible. And if it is a snake, then we still have nothing to fear. Because they would say that Lord Krishna is with us. So Krishna, he killed just Aghāsura in an instant. So similarly, he will kill this python also. And so this is where these boys, they are not careless, they are carefree. So that's the difference. Devotees are not careless, they are carefree. And that's how, when they are carefree, which means they know what's the purpose of life, what we should be spending time on, what we should be focusing on. We are not putting, news channel for the whole day. Rather, we are putting on Krishna's channel for the whole day, engaging in devotion service, listening to many webinars, reading the scriptures, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, doing, Kirtan with our children, engaging them also, and doing, a worship of the deities and so forth. So there are so many activities we can engage throughout the day. So as these boys, they are carefreely and fully surrendered at the lotus feet of Krishna, thinking that Krishna would take care of us. If this is a demon, he will take care of. And at that time, Lord Krishna is in anxiety. So it's amazing that Lord Krishna did not want any of the cowherd boys to enter the mouth of this Aghāsura demon, who is just waiting for all the cowherd boys to come and Krishna to come in, and then his idea was to just close the mouth and then just eat all of them out. And here, Acharya is describing, Srila Prabhupada is describing elaborately, also in Krishna book he describes, that Lord Krishna is seeing the power of Maya. So this is Yog Maya. Mahatma nastu mam patha yogim praktimashaya. So all the Mahatmas, all the devotees, the great souls, are under the shelter of Yog Maya, who is the internal potency of the Lord. So there is Mahamaya in the material world, but in the spiritual world it is Yog Maya, and the spiritual realm, all the pastimes, Yog Maya takes care of it. And Lord Krishna is amazed, looking at the strength of Yog Maya, seeing that these boys are entering the mouth of this, demon, who is in the form of a big, gigantic python, and they are going to be, killed by this demon. And so he's worried, he's in anxiety. He's thinking, how do I save the boys, yet at the same time kill the demon? So he has this challenge in front of him. And in this manner, he is constantly, trying to think as how to kill the demon while save the boys, the cowherd boys. It just so happens that all the boys, they start entering. and the mouth of the big python, Aghāsura. And at that time, Lord Kṛṣṇa, he proceeds to enter, because Aghāsura still has his mouth open, because he wants to avenge and satisfy his departed souls of his brother and sister, Putana and Bhāgavata. So he is waiting for Kṛṣṇa to come, because he is not so much interested in killing the cowherd boys, rather he is waiting for Kṛṣṇa, he wants to kill Kṛṣṇa. So sometimes people have this mindset that they can kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Well, that is not possible, but in this particular case, this is what this demon is thinking. And as Lord Kṛṣṇa walks into the mouth of this python, Aghāsura, he immediately, in the neck, he starts increasing his size. So as his mouth is open, Lord Kṛṣṇa is increasing his size, and so much so that his mouth is getting, stretched, his throat is getting stretched. And it's said that at that time, Aghāsura was so much meditating on Lord Kṛṣṇa that his soul could not pass through any other hole of his body. So he was constantly meditating on Lord Kṛṣṇa. He was fully focused. So his soul went through the top of through the skull. It broke that, bone and came out. And then it lingered on top like a bright light, so that everybody could see. So soul is so minute, right? The dimension of soul is also given. Soul is said to be the 1/10,000th. So the 10,000th of the tip of the hair. So you have to understand, not the width of the hair. So width of the hair is not the one, the tip of the hair. So that's very important. The tip, a 10,000th of them is the size. So think of it this way, look at Himalayas. The base of the Himalayas is so big, but the tip is so small that you can actually go and embrace, but you cannot embrace the whole of Himalayas. So it's very important to understand that you should not think of the width. So such is the small soul, and it is spiritual, it's very subtle. It's much more subtle than any of the subtle elements like mind, intelligence, false ego. So how could it be seen by materialized? However, by Lord Kṛṣṇa's desire, he is showing that this demon, and even he is amazed that this demon meditated on him so strongly. Like the great yogis are not able to meditate with that concentration, with that attention, with that absorption. This demon is meditating on Lord Kṛṣṇa. No, we're good. So this demon, Aghāsura, is meditating on Lord Kṛṣṇa so much so that he is able to, his soul is able to come out through the skull. And now, by Lord Kṛṣṇa's mercy, everyone is able to see. Even materially, the demigods and the cowherd boys, they saw as this demon was being killed. And now, there is a very nice explanation by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as to how these boys, they didn't stop from entering. And again, it's the same aspect that we covered because of the Yog Maya. So here, by Lord Kṛṣṇa's potency, this light is visible in the sky. And it is, people are able to see even with material eyes that this light is there before it merges and then goes back home, back to Godhead. So again, it is very interesting that Aghāsura did not get, merges, he did not just, his soul didn't just merge into Brahman or reach Vaikuntha. Rather, he was able to get Sarupya Mukti. So it is very important for us to understand that when such a demon was able to meditate on the on Lord with such a strong concentration and get Sarupya Mukti, we devotees, what can be said of the devotees who are serving him lovingly? And it is very nicely given by the Acharyas that one who is able to, even by force, meditate on Lord Kṛṣṇa and allows Lord Kṛṣṇa to, enter his heart. So of course, as Paramatma, Lord is in everyone's heart, but when a devotee allows the Lord to capture one's heart by loving service, by constantly engaging in devotional service, by relishing the sweet pastimes by chanting of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So when we are constantly engaging in devotional service, we are letting the Lord come and enter our heart. So at that time, you can imagine what amazing, destination such a devotee who is lovingly anukulena Krishna anushīlinam, as this Krishna desires in the favorable manner, what destination, what great destination is awaiting us. So it's very important for us to understand from that perspective. Now, at this particular time, what happens? All the cowherd boys who had entered, they had actually died. So Lord Krishna, with his glance, he brings them back to life. And then, as he brings all of them out, and this body of Aghāsura, it basically deteriorates over time and becomes, part of many wonderful pastimes in Krishna Leela. Afterwards, also by the Vrajvasis, they perform many amazing pastimes at this place. So, as he brings these cowherd boys, and he's looking at Yamuna flowing, nice breeze, and all the calves are near the green, pasturing grounds. So he says to them that this looks like a very nice place, near Ganges, near Yamuna river, a nice bank and platform area. So let's have our lunch here. So he proposes, and of course the cowherd boys immediately agree, and they all gather around. And now it's very nicely described that Krishna would be like, in the world of the lotus flower, just like that, Krishna is in the center and is constantly surrounded by different layers of cowherd boys. And each cowherd boy is looking to just see that Krishna is looking at him. And it is amazing that he thinks that Lord Krishna is constantly looking at him. And so in this manner, and they are amazingly exchanging prasadam, right? They are making the offering to Lord Krishna. And as Aghāsura had killed demigods, they had showered flowers, they have played all these nice instruments and so forth. So what had happened was, it was so amazing, melodious, that even the planets near Lord Brahma's planet, Satyalok, these sounds could be heard. So Lord Brahma came out and he saw what is all this going on, and he was amazed to see that Lord Krishna had killed Aghāsura. And further, he was amazed to see that Lord Krishna is sitting with all these cowherd boys, and one who only eats during the yajnas performed by the demigods and the great sages, one who only eats as a yajna purusha, is eating with these cowherd boys. Just like another cowherd boy, he is eating with them. And at that time, on this particular day, there is also a very important thing. Lord Balaram had not gone with the cowherd boys and Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna and all other cowherd boys had come. So here, as they are enjoying this, nice prasadam, it's very nicely described that they would pass on their, whatever preparation they had. Oh, Krishna, taste this. And they're giving it to Krishna. And Krishna is tasting it, and he's like, oh yes, this is very nice. And then he would, also share with other cowherd boys. So they're getting true Mahaprasad, right? Right then and there, they're getting Mahaprasad from Lord himself. From hand to hand, they're enjoying it from the, with the Lord. And it is very nicely described that Lord Krishna was having a mix of rice and yogurt in his palm, and the fruit pieces, they are between his fingers. So at that time, Lord Brahma, he gets bewildered. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada reveals, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also reveals, that Lord Krishna is born of the lotus flower. So he's from that's the place, right? So the lotus flower is also material in nature. So Lord Brahma is also material being. The body is material. So it is very important for us to understand that at this point of time, Lord Brahma is astonished that how this boy Krishna, who is a cowherd boy, could kill such a great demon who was tormenting even the demigods. They were afraid of him. And how is he sitting just like a common cowherd boy? He's a cowherd boy and he's sitting among the cowherd boys and eating and relishing, lunch with them. So how could that be possible? So as Lord Brahma is amazed and he's astonished, of course, there are different, the four kind of defects, that happens in this material world. He's influenced by them. And so this is where it is actually a setting of the scene for the next chapter, where everyone is saying Jai, Jai, and glorifying Lord Kṛṣṇa as he is enjoying his lunch as a picnic arrangement with the cowherd boys who are encircling him like the Lotus world. And this is where this particular chapter ends. And in the next chapter, please join us as we will be discussing how Lord Brahma gets deluded and how he comes, he realizes that Lord Kṛṣṇa is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there are amazing prayers in this particular next chapter that Lord Brahma himself is singing to Lord Kṛṣṇa. And remember Lord Kṛṣṇa's pastime with the yogurt and rice mixed and the fruits. So this is a very beautiful pastime. He is holding a steak. He has this. The Basuri, his Venu, is on the right side. And is very nicely decorated like a young boy, 5-year-old. And Shukdev Goswami ends this particular chapter by saying that even though this event happened when Lord Kṛṣṇa was 5-year-old and all the cowherd boys were so, but it was revealed to the Vrajvasis when they were 6-year-old, as if it happened on that day. So a whole year later it was revealed to the Vrajvasis, to the Vrindavanvasis, the residents of Vrindavan, as if it had just happened on that day. So this is where the chapter ends. And now for the protection of the whole world, for our protection, please join us in singing the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So let's get started. Hare Krishna, Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki Janant Kore Vaishnavind ki jai. Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Prahlad Lad Daine, Prahlad Lad Daine, Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha, Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha, Shilatangana Thalaye, Shilatangana Thalaye, Ito Nasingha Parato Nasingha, Ito Nasingha Parato Nasingha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Nasingha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Nasingha, Mahe Nasingha, Hidaye Nasingha, Mahe Nasingha, Hidaye Nasingha, Narasinghamadhim Sharanam Prapadye, Narasinghamadhim Sharanam Prapadye, Sabkar Kamalavare Natham Adbhuta Shingha, Dalita Hiranyakashipu, Tanu Bhringam Keshavaditya Narhari Rupa, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare, Abhakar Kamalavare Kṛṣṇa, Dalita Hiranyakashipu, Tanu Bhringam Keshavaditya Narhari Rupa, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jaya Nrsimha Dev, Jaya Nrsimha Dev, Jaya Nrsimha Dev, Jaya Nrsimha Dev, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Until next time, please stay safe and please stay calm and confident and stay courageous at the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshmi Hanuman, Shri Shri Gauranitai. Hare Krishna.